it's like a large drill bit that goes into the ground sideways and is going to shoot the soil from our walkways here, which we flagged out 18-inch walkways and a 30-inch bed. And you'd be surprised if you have something, a line to follow, you don't need a string, and sometimes string will get in your way. But there's a lot of benefit outside of things just looking manicured and neat, that, you know, keeping straight lines, keeping consistency with the width of your bed and your walkway allows you to use some of the other tools more easily. So it's not just about looking good. But this is only going to throw dirt to the right side. This bed was already established when they put the tarp on it, and so we don't need to run the rotary plow. And the whole idea, you guys just took some soil health classes, is we're trying to avoid in an environment in a garden like this. There's not a necessity to be running a rototiller all the time on these beds. In fact, there's a benefit in terms of water holding capacity, porosity, beneficial biology that we can maintain in the soil. So we're just going to run it through our walkways, which are going to get a little compaction. We're going to be walking in our walkways regardless. This is just going to run the tiller in our already established walkway and throw dirt in the bed, and it's going to make us a nice mound. It's going to hold water better. It's going to drain. It's not going to get waterlogged. It's going to be easier to weed. It's going to be easier to plant in, to put seed in.
Okay, so I'm going to turn it on and just run it down, and I'm probably going to stop when I get to the wet part down there. And normally I like to go down and come back in the same row so that I'm throwing soil both directions.
We wanted about an 18-inch walkway, and we're starting to get the ridge of our raised bed built by running that. Now if I came back with that 30-inch rake, and I just ran that rake over the top of the bed, then I'm going to get a real nice flat space to work in, to put seed directly into. Some of these tools you see, they're designed for this 30-inch bed system. So your rake is the size that you want your bed to be. Your broad fork is 30 inches. One pass all the way down. Doesn't require doing multiple passes. There's an efficiency to having your bed laid out in a uniform way.
So depending on what model of BCS, you'll have a number of different speeds. So BCS four speeds. So I usually run it in first speed. Another key is this would be kind of like power for the engine and the power takeoff, the like actual implement. So when I am generally just like moving the tool, I have it in pretty low power, but you want to make sure that you have enough when you're trying to actually use an implement to power it. Probably saw me like adjust the handles really heavy with brake to make sure that it's in a good position for you. And then the power takeoff, which essentially we push it forward to engage the implement and then back to disengage it. On this specific implement, we have this wheel down here that is adjustable. So when I'm moving it, like when I'm transporting it from the shed down here, I always lower it as far as possible to make for easy moving. But then we can adjust the height to determine how deep we want our, the furrow to be, our walkway.
So how you had it as deep as it can go, right?
I don't. I usually keep it on the third kind of notch, which I think works fine.
So you already told them, I mean, the thing that is unique also about inspectors is the movement of the handlebars.
Movement of the handlebars. I'm not going to demonstrate it right now because this implement, actually, we had an issue earlier.
Handlebars are working better on the other one.
Yeah, so the handlebars, you can move them to the side, so you can walk on the side of the BCS for whatever, implement you were using at the time.
That's not as important on this one, but we'll show you the power harrow.
Yep.
And when you're operating the power harrow, you're going right over the bed rather than running in the aisleway. Right now we're running through the aisleway. Handlebar movement's not as important. With the power harrow, I think that BCS is functioning a little bit more in the handlebars, but you'll see, I think we can swing out the handlebars on that one. And that way you're not stepping on that bed that you've already tried to aerate, plus up, so to speak, and just compacting it.
The red handle is essentially the emergency release. You have to hold it down at all times to operate it, but if it ever gets away from you, you just let go and it'll automatically shut off. So another.
With this model, does the engine shut off or does it keep idling?
I think it shuts off.
Okay, either way, it's going to stop moving.
Yep.
So if it's getting away from you, you just release that handle.
You said the gears 1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yep.
Yeah.
Did
So
you?
depending upon the speed, 1 is the slowest, 4 is
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yep.
And you guys can see that more over here if you look. And you have to really pop into place. She's in 1 right now. From 1, it goes to neutral. Second gear, there's a neutral state again. Third and fourth. And when you're running this rotary plow, almost 9 times out of 10, I feel like you're in 1.
Yeah.
You want to just go slow. And you can adjust your throttle and get more rotations and more of a bite with the rotary bit by adjusting your throttle. You don't need to adjust your speed.
Power harrow, which is very heavy, maybe like the most heavy implement that I've used on a BCS. But the idea of the harrow has tines under here that like turn. So it is much lower than a tiller. So they describe it as being like they stir the top. It's currently got a bunch of. Let me show you guys the bottom. You guys have the right idea. Are you ready? Ready? Yeah. Look here. You see it? Yeah. And then it has a roller, a precision depth roller on the back, so you can adjust. Use this handle. So currently it says high, so it's not going to stir more than like an inch. Or I adjust it to make it go a little bit lower. So it lowers that roller. Okay? make sense? With this tool, I move the handles to the side. They move very easily. So I can walk on the side because this is going to create a perfect bed ready to seed into. I don't want to walk on it.
I'm going to repeat again. Instead of tilling vertically from the soil, we're moving more horizontally. We're stirring the soil.
Does it break and have roots in? Is it slicing?
It can. It can. If you have residue down, if you have maybe some germinating weeds like this from underneath the silage tarp, this may be all that you need. We saw that this bed was already pretty much established. You might just run you wouldn't even need to run any tiller.
No.
Just the power harrow.
Yeah. Should I do?
What?
Do the original bed? Okay.
Amanda, the handlebars.
Okay, so something else I wanted to mention is this thing is really heavy. An alternative that's a little bit similar is you can get something like this that's called a precision depth roller that attaches to a tiller attachment and allows you to adjust the depth of the tiller. And I think those cost like $500 or $600. Most people buy a BCS with a tiller, so that would be a cheaper and less weight option if you don't want to till really deeply every time. And it allows you to adjust the precision depth roller. And you can get that for a 26-inch and a 30-inch tiller. So even if you have a small one and you want to just sometimes work the soil but not dig super deeply, that's an option that we're looking into. I love this, but it weighs 1 million pounds. I think that's what it says on the website, 1 million pounds. Yeah.